Welcome back to Let's Make a Game, a channel about making computer role-playing games using the free program Twine and the Sugarcube format for Twine. In this video, I would like to do a gamebook review. I will be reviewing the gamebook Where the Shadows Stalk, which is book number 1 in the Forbidden Gateway series, a series which only ever had two entries. I had fond memories of the second one. I didn't. I know I had played the first one, but I didn't remember anything about it. This book comes from 1985, and its theme is Victorian horror, I guess. It's set in a small village in Wales. You are a paranormal investigator. This takes place in a world in which the paranormal is real, so you're not a fool or a fraud. There actually is, paranormal stuff that you've encountered, and you have to try and deal with strange events that are happening in this village, which your friend has written to you about. Unfortunately, you will not meet many of them, odds are, because you will almost certainly die early in the book. The book is mechanically very flawed. It has an interesting theme. It's not vanilla fantasy, good on them. It's horror, but then it's not horror that's based on folklore. Like, there's not ghosts and vampires. It's more like, it reminded me of maybe H.P. Lovecraft or maybe authors like Arthur Machen, who were trying to sort of come up with new horrifying ideas rather than reuse existing ones. In particular, a lot of Victorian era writers really liked ghosts, and so there are an enormous amount of ghost stories written in the Victorian era. This doesn't sort of rely on existing folklore. It tries to sort of make up its own horrifying ideas. So it's a reasonably good setting and idea, but as I say, it is mechanically enormously flawed. You roll up a character. You have 3 main attributes, which are basically strength, willpower, and dexterity, and then you have a couple of stats that are derived from that, which are basically your physical and mental hit points. So if you've played the Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game, you'll know that as well as having a sort of measure of your physical health, you also have sanity, and sanity can be damaged in similar ways to how your physical health can be damaged, and often you will lose the game by your sanity being reduced to 0. This uses a similar idea to that. Unfortunately, what happens in the game is, first of all, you have to make a couple of rolls against different attributes. If you do badly, you will die. There are no choices you can make that will alter the outcome of these events. Then you have a choice, but the two choices lead to exactly the same result, basically. You have to fight this creature, and if you're unlucky, or even slightly unlucky, you have quite a high chance of dying. And in fact, I died, I think it was 4 times. Yeah, I died 4 times walking from the train station to the house of the person who'd sent me the letter. So I died in sort of the opening act of the game. and there's nothing you can do. Good design, I think, would be to give you a choice where, for example, you might have a definite outcome that causes you some damage but won't kill you, or you can sort of gamble on the risk of dying altogether, but you might be fine. And maybe which one's the best choice would depend on what attributes you have. So there's a certain amount of sort of intelligent decision making that you can make, at least once you have played the game a couple of times and know it's going to happen. But that's not what happens. You just have to roll. And I found that I died 4 times, and I didn't sort of feel like going for a 5th. It feels like maybe they didn't play test this book enough, because obviously you don't want the player to win first time, probably, but you don't want to have all this stuff that you've written that the player will never see because they keep dying. And that's what you've got here. This is it's not quite as big as, say, a fighting fantasy, which are traditionally 400 sections. This one's 379 sections. But you know, it's roughly the same number of paragraphs or number of sections. It's a big book. They wrote a lot of stuff, but they set it up so that the odds are you're not going to get to any of that stuff. You're going to die the first time, and there's nothing you can do to avoid it. And you just have to sort of go back and go through the meat grinder again. And eventually, if you're like me, you'll decide, yeah, I'd rather not, to be honest. Yeah, really, that I feel like if they, the authors, who are experienced game designers who had worked for Games Workshop, which is a big company in England, I feel like if they'd play tested it, they would have noticed that, and they would have realised that that wasn't the experience that they were trying to give. But it is the experience that they did give. So there you are. As I said, I have fond memories of the second book in this series, which I encountered before this one. So I might review that one in the future. But yeah, I would probably avoid this one, to be honest. Have a go at the second one and tell me if that one's better. I got it from the archive.org gamebooks collection. I downloaded it for free from there. I have discussed that in previous videos, but in case you don't know what that is, if you're coming in on this video, I will put a link to that one in the description of this video. So I hope that was useful or interesting to at least some of you, and I hope you will tune in next time.